I don't know who you are or what your name is, but listen to me. If you ever hear someone in your yard forcing their way into an apartment building entrance, whether it's yours or a neighbor's, and shouting in a rough male voice, "Open the door for me. Know that you must pack your things and run. Run to the other end of the city, or maybe to another city, even to another country, and pray. Pray to whomever you want, Christ, Buddha, Cthulhu, so that it doesn't get to you. And better yet, get yourself a pet, a cat, a dog, a fish, or even a Brazilian tarantula. The main thing is that there should be some animal in your house it will be able to warn you of its approach." I myself had an aquarium with a goldfish and a collie named Jackson, but I failed to understand in time what their strange deaths meant. At first, Jackson started acting weirdly. He couldn't sit still, kept asking to go out all the time, and once outside, he tried to break free and run away. As for the fish, it died as soon as the dog started going crazy. I didn't see anything ominous in this. Well, a fish died, so it died. We'll send its little corpse to fathom the mysteries of the city sewer system, and that's that. And the dog surely just has a playful mood that will pass in a couple of days. But neither in a couple of days nor in a week did Jackson calm down. He only became louder. He whined constantly, especially at night, wanting to escape from the apartment and generally as far away from our yard as possible. On walks, I began to notice that the same thing was happening to the dogs of some of my neighbors. And there was another oddity. Despite the summer season, the birds had vanished from the yard. There was no chirping of sparrows, no cawing of crows, nor that idiotic sound that pigeons make. The culmination of all this animal madness was one interesting procession that took place in my yard. I opened the building entrance door, and thank God I didn't go inside right away, because a whole line of rats rushed out of there. There must have been about 100 of them, hundreds of dark brown furry little bodies with repulsive bald tails emitting a nasty squeaking. Jackson went crazy for about a week, after which his behavior took a 180-degree turn. Restlessness was replaced by apathy, and my dog spent 24 hours a day on his bed. He almost stopped eating, and I had already decided to take him to the vet the coming weekend. But returning home one day after a workday, I found the dog dead. Unhappy Jackson had lived with me for 5 years now, and I was terribly saddened by his passing. I realized that this happened because of some illness. That's why he behaved so strangely, and I felt guilty about it. All the animals that could leave our yard left, and those that couldn't preferred to die. One could get the impression that some kind of evil was looming over us all, and the animals sensed it. But man is the stupidest animal, and none of the people in our yard felt the approaching storm while it was already poised to break out. Its beginning fell on a warm Friday in June. It was around 12, and I had just gone to bed, not having managed to fall asleep yet, when suddenly a wild crash and a shout echoed from the street, "Open the door for me!" Apparently, they didn't open it, and the knocking repeated again. Then another shout rang out, "I'll open it for you right now," followed by a long string of coarse cursing. 2 thugs had a fight, so what? That's what I thought as I drifted off to sleep, hoping that the sounds of their brawl wouldn't disrupt my rest. In the morning, going out to the store for bread, I saw an ambulance standing in the yard. Thinking that someone had fallen ill, I walked on. Later, however, I learned that no one was ill. They had simply found a corpse near the building entrance. The deceased was Mr. Crone, a 40-year-old man who lived in the neighboring entrance. As it turned out, it was he who was going to open the door the previous night, which is why he left the house. His wife had gone to the dacha back on Thursday, so there was no one to worry about him not returning for so long. No signs of a fight were found, and Mr. Crone died of a heart attack. No witnesses were found either. Our yard is quite large, and given the lack of normal benches and an unbroken playground, few people gather in our yard on Friday evenings to drink beer.
2 days later at night, I woke up from a crash and the same shout, "Open the door for me!" Well, yeah, someone forgot their keys again. What kind of mysticism is there? I reassured myself, trying to fall asleep. In the pre-dawn hours, I woke up from a tormenting thirst and went to the kitchen for a glass of water. Thanks to the open windows and living on the first floor, I heard almost everything that was happening on the street at that time. A noise caught my attention, and parting the curtains a little, I looked outside. There I saw a police car standing by the neighboring entrance, and law enforcement officers questioning people in bathrobes and slippers. I quickly figured out that these were residents of the first floor who for some reason had run out of their apartments onto the street. Talking about it with a neighbor the next day, I learned that a break-in had been committed in the neighboring entrance on the first floor. At night, the neighbors were awakened by a terrible crash and poured out onto the stairwell in a whole crowd. The door to one of the apartments had been smashed open. The door frame had long required repair, and the door needed replacement, so this was not a grand obstacle in the way of the robbers. One brave soul decided to step inside, but ran out of there in horror with a wild scream, and all the neighbors ran out of the building entrance after him. Until the police arrived, people were afraid to enter the building, and that poor fellow who dared to go into that apartment sat silently aside. Even the police failed to get him to talk. They found nothing in that apartment, no blood, no corpses, nor the owners themselves. They had vanished somewhere, although all the neighbors claimed that the young family who lived in this apartment had not gone anywhere. Mysticism, I thought, and did not treat this story with due seriousness, although somewhere deep inside me anxiety had already appeared. 3 days after this, I was awakened again at night, this time by the intercom buzzer. Cursing the whole world, I dragged myself to the handset. "Hello?" I said in a sleepy voice. "Sorry to wake you," a low male voice began, "but I lost my intercom key, please." I didn't listen to the end and hung up. Who knows what kind of addict wanted to get into our entrance to get high or rob someone. But the ring repeated immediately, and I had to turn off the sound to get a normal night's sleep. Just as I returned to bed, I suddenly heard a scream from the street. "Open the door for me!" Now this creepy visitor was pounding on my building's entrance. I immediately connected the facts and realized how this night could end for me if I let him in, and the first wave of fear sent goosebumps rolling down my spine. I tried to calm myself with the thought that my front door was too strong to be broken down, so even if someone did let this madman in, he wouldn't be able to do anything to me. The cry repeated again and again, accompanied by a loud banging on the entrance door. At first, I didn't understand why no one had gone out yet to chase this man away, but then I remembered Mr. Crone, who had risked going out, and realized that people were held back by the memory of that incident. For about 10 minutes, I lay on my bed, covered over my head, wishing for this maniac to leave. Suddenly, I allowed a strange and frightening thought. What if it wasn't a human being forcing its way into the entrance at all otherwise? How to explain the strange death of Mr. Crone and the disappearance of that family? Besides, one person wouldn't have enough strength to break down a door, even a flimsy one. And suddenly, what was breaking so eagerly into the entrance knocked on my window and spoke to me. It was unimaginably terrifying, as if Some hyper-intelligent monster had calmly entered your apartment. "Hey, you! I heard a male bass. I know you're in there, lying wrapped in a blanket, hoping that I won't get to you. Ha! You are mistaken. I will come tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, and so on until I get into the entrance. If I don't get in this way, I'll find another way. So let me in. Don't complicate life for both of us." I tried to plug my ears so as not to hear this voice. There was something unutterably awful about him addressing me. I didn't sleep at all for the rest of that night. For some time, this creature still forced its way into the entrance, but then it left. In the morning, I immediately packed my things and moved in with my parents. I spent 3 quiet nights with them, and then I heard this monstrous cry again. Over the past month, I have changed several places of residence. I lived with friends and relatives and never stayed anywhere for more than a week. No one could understand this running around from apartment to apartment. I was told that there was nothing special about some drunk banging on the door, demanding to be let in, but I knew what was really going on. Recently, my pursuer changed his methodology. He no longer forced his way through the door at night, but acted more elegantly. Letters began coming to me both by regular mail and by email, where I was invited to attend all sorts of events. Yes, of course, would anyone in their right mind invite me to the opening of a book salon on the site of an abandoned factory or to a car show in a suburban forest? I quickly realized that Muhammad had decided to wait for the mountain to come to him. Well, let it be so. Maybe soon he will change his tactics again, and then I will have no choice but to go straight into his clutches. I don't know what it is or why it needs specifically me. I think there is something like a harvest going on here. Apparently, this creature needs certain people for the sake of obtaining whom it will stop at nothing. Now, having read my story, I hope you will know what to do when all the wildlife disappears from your yard and at night you hear a cry demanding to open the door.